I'm going to connect the dots between Will Smith and the Ukraine conflict.
I really wanted Nia's thoughts on that. So do that, and then I've got to get at least 2 minutes of Nia's thoughts, specifically on Denzel. Denzel suddenly struts over and is like, "Hey, bro, devil gonna get you." It's like, when has Will Smith ever purported to be a believer or a Christian in his marriage, where they're open marriage and having relationships with us, and then Denzel gonna strut over and be like, "Hey, watch out for the devil"? Like, come on, man, get out of here with that. I'm sorry, Josiah.
Josiah, I'm ready.
You guys write this down. This is really interesting.
Okay,
if you haven't,
here it is.
So sorry, this is just a quick side topic from the big connection between Will Smith and Ukraine. It's called the Red Table. It was a Facebook.
Yeah, with Jada.
Yeah. Okay, you listen to the Smith family?
No, I don't.
No, but I mean, I know of it.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that is really interesting. It's like 3 hours.
What, do you watch it?
I listened to it all when it came out. I listened to it live when they were first.
Crazy. I used to think that all Nia ever did was spend her time on Instagram and YouTube watching videos. Clearly, Josiah is the addict here.
No,
I work by myself, and whenever I get a mindless task like painting or doing drywall or something just so redundant and mindless, I just throw on thing after thing after thing. And anyways, I happened to be on a flight or something like that, and the Red Table Talk came up. And so anyways, I just found it to be so intriguing because Will Smith is like my icon from middle school and high school.
Really?
Like,
Again, something I did not know.
Well, because Fresh Prince of Bel-Air was like the go-to show at Grandma's house. Grandma had cable and we didn't. And we would get to sleep on the pull-out couch with a big TV right in front of us. This is flat screens. And Fresh Prince just played on repeat on like ABC Family or Nick at Night, whatever it was.
Okay.
And so just lived for Fresh Prince. And then Pursuit of Happiness came out, and I was like, who is this guy? I was like, he's a magician. Like, he can be Fresh Prince and he can be this like unbelievable Jesus figure dad in the
For me,
story.
Side point, that was what upset me about the Oscars, was that they gave him an Oscar for playing Richard Williams, when in fact the movie wasn't that great and his portrayal wasn't that great. He should have won an Oscar for Ali, or he should have won an Oscar for Pursuit of Happiness. So this was one of those correction Oscars in my mind. Anyways.
Right. Well, and that's really where it gets ugly, is because this connection dot, his name is Hugh Evans, write it down, HughevA, Hugh Evans. He is the CEO of Veritas, out of New York, and he is also commonly the head of Global Citizens Nonprofit. Now, Global Citizens Nonprofit did a huge thing, and this is when Will Smith went south for me, and I knew he was in with the globalists as soon as I saw this happen. You have an old, wealthy guy like Will Smith who does not need to do a cotton picking thing for the rest of his life. He should be living high on the hog and having a blast and spending his money as a philanthropist or whatever he wants to do, buy a yacht, buy an island, just like whatever. Anyways, he did a skydive thing into the Grand Canyon or something weird, a bungee jump into the Grand Canyon off a helicopter.
Yeah, I remember
and
that.
All for a fundraiser. This is pre-COVID, pre-Ukraine, pre-everything. And some lucky person got to, donate $1 bajillion and, be entered in a raffle to hang out with him on his birthday. And I was like, that's just the weirdest thing. Like, how old is this guy? Like 60s these days? I don't even know. Anyways, I was like, what the heck is he doing? The fundraiser was for Global Citizen, owned by Hugh Evans, the same guy. Now, global citizens right now, when you listen to the radios on country music, when you see commercials for Give to Ukraine, when you see all these big Ukraine hit ads for people to donate to aid relief for the war, it is all going to global citizens, which is one of the most corrupt nonprofits in my eyes because it is owned and headed by a hedge fund owner. And so he conveniently is a hedge fund career moneymaker schemer, and he also owns this nonprofit.
I don't suppose either of you watches that evil Netflix show Ozark.
No.
I just wondered, because in Ozark, there's supposed to be good people who are stuck in a bad situation. It's almost like what was the Walter, the guy with the heroin who started the heroin, the show
Breaking Bad.
Yeah, it's almost the same theory as Breaking Bad. They weren't really bad people, but they're in a bad situation, so they have to do some bad things. And the only reason I say that is because they're doing really bad things, but they cover it all with a nonprofit where they're able to
You gotta love that.
Able to play off as good people to the community when in fact they're doing horrible things.
I listened to the country music station, and this just happened today. And they said, donate now to Ukraine war aid relief to global citizens. And I was like, those fricktards.
Oh, that's quite a link. That is quite a link.
And it is, yeah, it is so peculiar also that Pfizer was the main sponsor of this specific Oscar.
Oh, that's funny. I hadn't even noticed that. But as you know, if you watch Russell Brand,
yeah,
he's got a little issue with Pfizer and COVID.
Well, and my mother made a connection that Pfizer is actually working on a medicine for alopecia, which is what Will Smith's wife,
right,
had her hair loss to. I don't know how much I bank on that. I don't know how much. I don't know. I was 100% thinking that it was a fake out thing with Will Smith. But now I'm moving more towards being 50-50. But I don't know. Just the fact that Chris Rock kept his hands clasped behind his back when he got slapped across the face. That's like stage combat 101. You like clasp your hands behind your back to prevent your knee-jerk reaction.
Yeah. Neither of you guys are going to get this joke, but I'm going to say it anyways. I always give my money to the Human Fund. For those who are fans of Seinfeld, there was an episode where for Christmas, the character of George Costanza was so sick of people giving, I've given a gift to this charity in your honor. So he decided for Christmas, he was going to do that for all of his coworkers. He didn't want to spend any money. So he just made up a fake place called the Human Fund. And he gave all his coworkers cards saying, this holiday season, I've given a gift on your behalf to the Human Fund. And of course it was found out that it wasn't a real charity, and all sorts of hilarity ensued. But yeah, so I'm a big fan of the Human Fund.
But that's all it is. It's like, I don't know. I've been on the phone with an attorney to set up a 501c3, and they're like the coolest thing. Like they really are superpower. But I'm like, you mean to tell me anybody can set one of these up?
Oh yeah, Just get together a fake board and you're all set.
He's like, oh yeah. He's like, we have 100% success rate with all of our,
fake officers and a board, and you're set. Nia, you didn't answer my question. Why does Denzel think he can go around telling Will Smith that the devil's attacking him?
Yeah.
Okay, before we even get to that, there is something that I saw I don't want to name the pastor. I don't know. Anyway, I really like him though. The pastor, I really like him. But anyways, he basically equivalated Will and Jada to Jezebel and Ahab. I thought that was brilliant, but that's neither here nor there. Now, as far as Denzel is concerned, well, I think when I saw it, I was like, my reaction was similar to yours, Brendan, just as far as when have I ever heard Will? I mean, he said some spiritual like things and maybe said God a couple times, but
in his blubbering speech, he actually let us know that God was having him spread love this way by being a fierce defender and slapper of other people. Like, that's how God's having you spread love? Huh, maybe I'm onto something because I've been angry at people for years. Now I need to just start slapping them.
Yeah. But yeah, so I'll say that. But at the same time, it's like, I feel like there's so many Christians in Hollywood. I know Denzel, as far as I can.
Yes, I've always believed that Denzel is a Christian.
Yeah, he's a Christian. Okay, good. And so on the other hand of that, like him and Will do have a relationship with however like a actual like meaningful relationship. And so maybe Denzel knows something that we don't about Will, or maybe Will is really being attacked by the enemy and because God's chasing after him or has been chasing after him, and he's coming neck and neck and trying to decide what to do about his life. So I mean,
tell you, those women rocking his world left and right.
I know, and it's so sad. Because like you said, like he's like a culture icon. Like both of them are, you know. And
don't throw God into these things. That's all that bothers me.
I mean, you have to. But I will say this: at the end of the day, if Will is not a Christian, I mean, when he gets to the pearly gates, if he even get that far, if he's not a Christian, God's gonna look at him and like, so you just thought Denzel was just saying some stuff, huh? Like you don't want to take him at his word. You know what I mean? Because like I said, they have a relationship. Denzel is a Christian, and you know, we don't know what goes on behind the scenes. You know, we can say that about a lot of people because there are a lot of Christians in Hollywood. Assuming we're talking about the same Russell Brand, isn't he the one that dated Katy Perry?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. And she either grew up in it.
Oh, she's a PK.
Yeah, she's a PK, you know, so there are, I don't know if she's actual Christian or not, but
yeah,
I know
she's a PK. I don't know if she's a Christian.
Yeah.
What was that, Josiah?
Oh no, she's far from Christian. She's terrifying. She scares the crap. Oh yeah.
Well, she has. I think we're on the place where if you Google it, she's about, you know, her Christian faith at this point, renounced it or whatever. But she was raised a PK.
Okay. Yeah. So I mean,
a devil worshiper or a Wiccan than she would a Christian.
Yeah. So who's the other one? I mean, there's some others. Of course, I can't think of them now because it all kind of escapes me. But there's this underlying. And I wish it was more, because normally, like when you watch award shows, somebody would thank God. You don't hear that no more. I would thank God and my mama, and then you go sit down. But you don't hear nothing no more like that. And it's been like that for some years now. And so there's a lot of undercover Christians in Hollywood. And I say undercover just because they're not quite as blatant as I guess what they used to be, if that. But and I think a lot of the culture of offense and cancellation is a part of that as well. But I don't know what happens behind closed doors or what happened behind closed doors. And that's not even going into the actual incident itself and or the history with it that led up to, or what I think led up to it.
I think my offense to it, and I will acknowledge what she said is right. I don't know anything about Will, and I don't know what relationship he and Denzel have. So, you know, maybe Denzel, as I acknowledged, I do think Denzel is a Christian. I don't know what his relationship is with Will, and therefore what he knows of Will's potential spirituality. So I don't know that. But I think what I don't like about it is that I feel like sometimes Christians have a way of using Christianity. I'm going to say Christianity. I'm not going to say the Bible, but they have a way of using Christianity to justify things for unbelievers, right?
Mm-hmm.
So like, instead of going up to Will Smith and saying, brother, you got to calm down, this just ain't right. Instead, he's like, hey, brother, you better watch out, the devil gonna get you. And it's like, so now Will Smith can stand up there blubbering, thinking, yeah, this is right. You know what I mean? Like, as Christians, sometimes, far too often, especially quote mainstream Christians, they just use Christian concepts, language, etc., with unbelievers in a way that justifies unbelievers' behavior,
or in a way that has no real substance to it.
Yeah.
Understand that. Yeah. And I think on the other side of that, I didn't listen to it. I think I just saw, kind of like a picture with a quote or something.
Mm-hmm.
So who knows if that was all that was said?
Right.
You know what I mean? Because who knows what Tyler Perry said?
That's all we know that was said, because that's what Will said. Will said, my brother Denzel just told me,
Yeah. So he probably lying. I'm just joking. Just joking. Not saying that. Don't nobody come for me. But
Denzel has done a follow-up interview. I haven't bothered to really listen to it a whole lot, but he has done a follow-up interview with somebody.
Yeah. And even still, who knows what Tyler said, even though I have my own opinion about it.
Just don't don't justify sinful behavior, especially by non-Christians.
Yeah. And then again too, it's like
Christian platitudes.
Yeah. And then again too, it's like, even let's just say, again, Denzel is a Christian, at least from what we can suspect based on X, Y, and Z. Like I'm not even bring her up. It's gonna go down a rabbit hole.
Oh boy.
But who knows, like, if he is mature enough to understand exactly what he may have possibly said, if there was not, if that's all he said, if he did, because I can imagine just by, that he's at some point, someone's like, yo, chill. Let's pause a minute. Let's think about this. Like, what just happened,
I think several people did that, jumped up and were like, hey, whoa, you okay, brother? You need to calm down. I definitely agree with that.
Yeah. And now, man, no, I'm done. I'm done.
All right. All right.
Yeah.
Well done, Neil. Well done.
Gracias.
Do you think that what Chris Rock said was offensive?
You mean
at first I thought that Chris Rock knew that she had alopecia, and so I thought it was mean but not offensive. I thought it was mean-spirited. But everybody has attested, Chris Rock himself and everybody else has attested, that he didn't know that she had alopecia. And so in that context, no, I found it far less, like I said, I didn't really find it offensive. I found it mean-spirited. But then after that, I didn't even find it mean-spirited. Right. In fact, I found it shocking that Will got the whole way it went down, because he and Will are friends. Not
according to what I heard. They've been beefing for a while. That's the story.
I was just gonna say, he and Will, my understanding is that he and Will have been friends throughout the years, but because of comments and stuff that he said about Jada, this was certainly a little sore point between them. Mm-hmm. And so that's why when he made that comment, Will Smith's initial reaction, as we all saw, or if you've seen the video, was to actually laugh. It wasn't until Will Smith saw Jada's face, which was not laughing, she was not having it, that he decided he needed to traipse up there and smack him. So to answer your question, Josiah, no, I didn't think that it was offensive, but I will also openly admit that my line of offense is not where most Christians are. I am a lover and fan of stand-up comedy, which means I will traipse into the blue and not be offended. I will go far deeper than other Christians will. So
you the Cat Williams, Bernie Mac, all them folks. Dave Chappelle, Mike Epps. Somebody was like, yeah, he wanted to done it on Mike Epps. I was like, you know what? He right. Mike Epps.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like I didn't even feel like you like even scraped the surface of Diggs.
Okay, here's what I was gonna say. When you were starting to say that you thought it was, stage, or that, Chris putting his hands back was a sign that it was acting, all that, all I'm gonna say is, if you watch the video, I've shown this to my wife's in the room. If you watch the video, the second time that Will yells at Chris Rock, keep my wife's name out the room, Chris Rock says, you can't see him on camera, but you hear him say, okay, I will. Then when you see him on camera, he starts to utter the phrase, man, I could, and then he stops and goes, oh, well, this has been quite, the best night of television ever. You have to catch that little phrase, because I guarantee you that in the moment, knowing how stand-up comedians are, he was about to go off on him. He was about to be like, Negro, the stuff I know about you, the stuff that's out there about you, all this stuff, boy, I'm about to let loose verbally on you. And he caught himself. It's so quick. It's so quick. But he clearly says, man, I could. No, I'm not. I must have played that 3 times for my wife the other night. Like, right there. He wanted to let him have it so bad. And I would have loved it if he just verbally assaulted him at that point.
Yeah.
It would have been funny. It would have been so funny.
Did you listen to Ricky Gervais?
What'd you say?
Did you listen to Ricky Gervais's response?
Oh, no. No.
Do you know who he is?
Yes, I know who he is.
What'd he say?
What you guys gonna say? We're waiting on you. What'd he say?
He goes, so he's like, all my American friends are texting me. He's like, I wake up, he's like, I don't give an F about the Oscars. He's like, I wake up the next day, everybody's texting me, do you hear about Will? Do you hear about Will? He's like, I've got my own career to worry about. I've got a stand-up show that night, the day after the Oscars. And he's like, and now I know that because of my Oscars hosting, he's like, it's going to be on everybody's mind at the comedy club. Like, what's Ricky Gervais going to say about? And so he goes, he's like, I nipped it in the bud. I just showed up. And the first line when I walked on stage was, I'm not going to say anything about Will Smith tonight. And he's like, the whole audience like lost it laughing. They like thought it was the funniest thing that, my opening line. He's like, so then he's like, somewhere down the line, he's like, I just said, but if I was going to say something, he's like, I would say that, and then he basically just said exactly what you were just laughing about, Brendan, which is like her bald head would have been the least of my, topics. He's like, I wouldn't even touch that. I would have just talked about her boyfriends.
Exactly.
I am laughing because I was like, that's exactly it. Like, anyways.
Yeah, I think the overall perspective that I've seen, and in essence, I can agree with, I say that loosely, is just that what happened is kind of like the culmination of all that. Because, he said, he's talking about this in his speech too, just all the stuff that, happens behind the scenes, happen to be in the spotlight and all this, all the attention on your personal life, yada, yada, yada. And that includes Red Table Talk. When that whole episode came out.
I believe that 100%, that was... He had finally had it. I mean, as a rapper, you and I understand this, Nia. As a rapper, well, maybe we don't because you're younger, but it wasn't like as a rapper he was considered one of the greatest. He sold a ton of albums and had huge pop success, but in the world of hip hop, he was not at all regarded. DJ Jazzy Jeff had greater regard as an awesome DJ than he ever did. So my point is, in the hip hop world, he's always been made fun of for years. So then he goes on to become an actor, and the first thing he does is Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. And, it's this whole fish out of water thing. And again, he has large crossover appeal. Kids like Josiah love him. I never liked The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. I could care less about it. Was never a fan of it. And so he wasn't highly regarded as an actor until he did some of the Muhammad Ali stuff. But then as he gets into this where he's truly proving himself as an actor, and he was a box office megastar who had fallen off and is on the rebound as far as being able to sell tickets to his movies. Then in the midst of that, his wife's out there talking about her affairs and got him sitting up there looking like a fool on her podcast while she's talking about well, Matt, right? And it's like, yeah. So I think he had, and he said that in his acceptance speech. I understand that in this world, you just have to smile while people make fun of you and disrespect you and all that. And I think that's what came to a boil, was like, this is my night. Because I think he knew he was going to win that award. And he's going, this is my night. And I got to sit up here on my night and listen to people making fun of me. I am not having it.
Yeah. Yeah, and for the record, there were people when I first heard, because I first saw the acceptance speech and all the comments were, Will wasn't right. I was like, it's a nice speech. What happened? I don't know about. And but you have all these people saying they're not right. Well, these are the same people who post comments about, I'm a Christian, but I'm also hood. So say one wrong thing and I'm a blah, blah, blah. And I'm just like,
yeah,
so.
I saw a shirt like that the other day. Somebody had a shirt that was something like that. I was like, what?
Yeah.
I haven't seen anything like that since I was in Baltimore. I gotta be real with y'all. That's something that I would have expected to see down in Baltimore.
Yeah. It's I mean, go ahead.
Yeah, it's like, it doesn't matter if you're like, I don't know. It's not even like a hood thing. It's just like, you just lost like everybody, Like as soon as you say something like, I might be Christian, but I'm hood. It's like, well, that's just like a trashy comment. There's just no, there's no respect, like room for you. It's like, I don't know.
Sorry.
That's
okay.
Funny.
But yeah, it's like these same people who I know, like, and let's just say in its purest perfect form, let's just say Will was defending his wife. Let's just, the purest form, forget everything else that happened before it or all that stuff, the baggage that comes with it. He was defending his wife. Me personally, I may have tried to stop him, but I wouldn't be mad if he did. I'd probably be like, all right, baby, chill. Y'all, baby, come back.
I understand that he has his defenders, and a lot of them are Black women who are happy to see a Black man step up and defend a Black woman. I understand that. I understand that there's a certain level of street cred that comes with that. There's also the other side, which is, well, if Seth was here, he would laugh with me because he was a big fan of the old cartoon, The Boondocks, and Uncle Ruckus, who when the boys showed up, started singing the song, "Don't Trust Those New N-Words Over There." And so my point is, there is also the idea that, come on, man, on the night when the Oscars were produced and put together by a team of Black people for the first time ever, on a night when it was supposed to be all about diversity and love, on that night, it was the brothers who had to be smacking one another. You can't dress you people up and let you out.
Russia.
I'm the white guy having to bite his tongue right now on this podcast, man. Let me tell you, that's...
And, I thought about that, and it's like you can definitely play the race card, as in, to go back to somebody set this up, yada yada yada, but if not, everything happened the way that it did, it just sucks that it played out that way, I think, but yeah, for all those who said, man, that was wrong, okay. Yeah, I doubt it. So next time someone say something crazy to you, you tell me how you respond.
Yeah.
But some of y'all cuss somebody out because they brought the wrong kind of water. So I
think the way of class and decorum was that you wait till afterwards and you go up to them afterwards. If you gotta smack them afterwards in the back room, you smack them afterwards in the back room. But you gotta wait till afterwards. You can't do it on national TV. And the other thing for P. Diddy to get up there, for him to get up there after almost next. I don't know how much of this you know, but like the next presenter was P. Diddy, and he gets up there and the first thing he says is, hey, everything is all peace and everything is all good, and we're gonna handle this behind the scenes with none but love and all. Like, yo, Diddy, almost every time you have ever walked into a room, you brought nothing but trouble. And you're gonna be out here talking about you're the man of peace and that we're all gonna handle this well and with decorum and all that. Come on, brother.
Please. Bro, you got kill marks on your face, man.
Exactly. I mean, well, technically it's not trouble because they ain't living no more. So hey, the trouble gone now. So I mean,
no, literally though, like you gotta, like Ricky Gervais and Russell Brand. It's really interesting, like hearing from some like people's perspectives that have been in that room and everything. And like when Russell Brand talked about it, he's like, it's like you have this place where everyone would always get dressed up nice and put everything aside and for one night just celebrate their awards. And he's like, he compares it to like, being a part of like the Queen of England and like, going to, the castle and walking in, and he's like, there's just like a very clear, like you have the red carpet, you have your nice clothes on, you have, kind of the task at hand, and it's like everybody's in that room and focused on that stage and all like in unison, kind of dedicated to this one night of like, kind of a code of conduct, I guess, that everybody kind of adheres to, and it's like literally he's like, there's so much tension in the world, he's like, that it has even invaded into like this kind of almost like holy place, like almost like a sanctuary for entertainment, where it was like, kind of to us what like a Sunday service is, like to them that's like their big annual celebration of each other, where everything stops, and everybody puts on their nice suits and everybody puts on their nice gowns, and they just have this kind of service, if you will, or this kind of like holy time where they just like celebrate each other. And it's like the Oscars, it's like the status thing.
I think he also made the point, and you are right, he did make that point, but I think he was also one of the ones, I've gotten so many reactions at this point that I'm not sure, but I think he also made the point that generally speaking, the Hollywood set is some of the most thin-skinned people around. So when Ricky Gervais does like he did when he hosted and was just roasting the room, it plays well to America, but to the set in the room, it doesn't play well at all, and they are fighting a grin when with their teeth ready to gnash, because it doesn't go over well. We love it all, but they don't love it in that room, and they're very thin-skinned. And so whether it's Ricky Gervais or Chris Rock doing that, there was a lot of Hollywood people who are happy to finally see a comedian get smacked upside the head, because they're tired of being roasted at what is supposed to be their self-aggrandizing moment.
Yeah, that's really interesting, but it is definitely crazy time to be alive. I don't know, for me it kind of broke my heart that it was in a time where the world is trying to make things kind of color vision again when it comes to black and white and different stuff, and it's like, I don't know, it was just so like on the side of like viewing things as if you were to be somebody that's already racist or something, or like looking for ammo in your cannon. It's like, oh, like look at all these black people ruin the Oscars.
Yeah,
it's like, nice, holy, beautiful thing, and it's like first time ever they can't even keep their hands to themselves.
Right, all the people this is the biggest thing is all the people that we don't talk about now, because that's all we talk about is Will Smith, right? And not the least of which was Questlove, who was the one who actually won the Oscar that Chris Rock was giving. And it's a documentary on a Black portion in the history of music, and how Black music carried a culture through a tumultuous time in the 60s. And like, you wouldn't know that because all we've talked about is Will Smith.
Right. Yeah. It's such a significant thing to point out, even to people that are racist, is that, so many people that are racist don't want to acknowledge just how deep the Black presence is in every single genre of quote unquote American music. And it's a beautiful thing that God's done in our history, I think, of interweaving our cultures like that, even obviously right down to the song Amazing Grace, which obviously isn't even from America, but it's just like, the most sung and translated song of our time, and has nothing to do with white people.